Long ago, before kings ruled and cities stood tall, the world was filled with powers not seen by human eyes. They didn't come with swords or fire, but they were more dangerous than any army. These were the dark forces, the enemies of peace, that crept into the hearts of people, broke families, and brought mighty kingdoms to their knees. Welcome to the Bible Stories with Gian channel. This is a story not just of demons and destruction, but of hope. Because even in the darkest of times, there were those who stood firm, who believed, who prayed, and who overcame. In ancient days, there was a spirit whispered about in hushed voices, Vetus. He was not loud or quick to strike. No, Vetus was patient. He didn't need to fight. He simply sowed seeds of greed and pride into the hearts of people. Leaders became selfish. Judges stopped being fair. Friends turned into enemies without even knowing why. It was as if something cold had entered their hearts. Cities once filled with joy became quiet, bitter places. But no one saw Vetus. That's how he worked, from the shadows, turning good into evil one small thought at a time. Yet in every generation, there were people who remembered the truth. They prayed, they repented, they gave thanks. And when they did, the grip of Vetus broke. Ammon was a spirit who didn't need war to win battles. All he had to do was speak lies, small ones whispered in the dark. He would remind someone of an old hurt, stir jealousy, and turn peace into suspicion. He was the reason best friends would stop talking. He made kings doubt their loyal servants. His power wasn't in weapons, but in the words people believed when their hearts grew bitter. But not all fell under his spell. Some turned to God, forgave their neighbors, and healed their wounds. And Ammon, he couldn't stay where love was strong and forgiveness was real. Where Ammon sowed mistrust, Andras brought fire. He turned arguments into battles and small fights into civil war. Towns would burn, families would fight, and no one would remember why it all started. Andras thrived on rage. He wanted people to lose control. But those who remembered peace, who chose to listen and forgive, stopped him in his tracks. Even in chaos, a gentle word could break the storm. That's why peace, even in hard times, is stronger than any demon. Love is one of the most powerful gifts God gave the world. But there was a demon named Asmodeus who tried to twist that gift. He took love and turned it into jealousy, obsession, and anger. Marriages broke, brothers fought, families fell apart. Not because they stopped loving, but because their love was poisoned. But there is hope. Those who loved with truth, who gave without demanding, who forgave when it was hard, they pushed back the darkness. Real love, the kind that comes from God, cannot be destroyed. Belial was not loud. He did not shout or make a scene. He whispered to kings and rulers, telling them they deserved more. He made priests lie and leaders forget the people they were meant to serve. Under his influence, cities grew proud, but they were hollow inside. The hungry starved while the rich grew fatter. Laws were twisted. Good men turned bad. But even then, some remembered their calling. A judge stood for truth. A leader gave to the poor. A prophet spoke when others were silent. And slowly, light returned. In the lands of old, mothers would whisper prayers against Lamashtu. She didn't seek kings or soldiers. She struck the young, the weak, the innocent. She waited in shadows, bringing fear to mothers and sorrow to homes. But people did not stay silent. They prayed over their children. They stood together, guarding life and trusting God. Even in fear, faith was a shield, and faith always won. She waited in shadows, bringing fear to mothers and sorrow to homes. But people did not stay silent. They prayed over their children. They stood together, guarding life and trusting God. He twisted dreams into nightmares. But even in madness, people cried out to God. And through prayer, fasting, and faith, they found peace again. The mind can break, yes, but it can also be healed. Of all the dark names, Moloch was the most feared. He demanded the unthinkable. Children offered in fire, hope traded for false promises. In times of famine and fear, people gave in to this evil. But the prophets cried out. They reminded the people that God does not ask for pain, but love. The voice of truth rose higher than the drums of Moloch, and his altars fell. Where there is life, there is always a chance for mercy. At the very end of all things stands Abaddon. He does not tempt. He does not whisper. He simply destroys. When all hope is gone, when love and truth are forgotten, Abaddon comes like a storm. But here is the truth. He only comes when the world gives up, and that is why we must never give up. We must be the ones who keep hope alive, who love even when it's hard, who forgive when it feels impossible. The world is still filled with shadows. There are still whispers and fears and pain. But greater than any demon, more powerful than any curse, is the light inside you. A heart that chooses kindness can stop a war. A prayer can break chains. A family united in love can stand against any storm. These ancient spirits tried to rule the world, but the world still stands because light always rises again. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs hope today. And remember, the strongest power is not fear, it's faith. The darkness was real, but it never had the final word. In every age, in every battle, light found a way through, and so can you. Stand firm, speak truth, love deeply, and the ancient forces will fall before you. This is your story now. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring Bible stories. See you in the next video. Take care. God bless you all.